Good morning. Naite here. Happy Mother's Day. I want to share a story with you this morning about Mother's Day in experience I had in Panama. And it was in what's called the San Blas Islands, which is a network of, they say, 365 islands that are governed, self-governed, sovereign nation of the Kuna people. And Mother's Day there happened, I think it was December 6th, but the date somewhere around that time, in the same way that, Mother's Day here can sometimes vary in terms of the date. But anyway, so the geese are speaking a little bit there. So this ceremony in the sovereign nation of the Kuna involves chicha, which is a fermented drink made of corn, maize. Now, these islands, by the way, are varied in size. Some of them are super tiny, like just little, like a one tree and a beach, and they're very paradisical. They're the epitome of paradise lost, so to speak, or the desert island with one or two palm trees and just a knoll of beautiful white sand amidst this turquoise Caribbean sea. And the one I was on was larger and was home for about 400 people. But this island, when we say larger, you could walk around it in 20 minutes. And there were 400 people living on it in thatched huts. There was no source of water. It was just rain catchment. Of course, you're surrounded by the ocean. And for waste, so to speak, outhouses, there were these wharfs going out all around the island, like rays or lines coming off the circle. And at the end was a little, sometimes covered space, sometimes not, just wide open. And that was their washrooms. So here we are on this island, and called Nulega, and I was staying with my host, grandmother Angelica, and a medicine man named Benjamin. And I was basically a tourist. But when I arrived, and I didn't even know which island I was going to, there's a place where you on the mainland, and you just wait there, and like a kind of canoe like boat, or various kinds of boats show up and say, where do you want to go? And I didn't know. I was just there. And I said to one of them, where are you going? And he said, Nalanega. And I said, okay, I'll go there. So I get on this boat, and it's about an hour and a half ride out into the ocean. And on the dock of Nalunega is this grandmother standing there. And she was like, it felt like she was waiting for me. And she offered her hand and helped me out of the boat and said, okay, come stay with me. And I mean, I'm a tourist. What do I know? We make stuff up sometimes. But she was very welcoming and showed me around and taught me and told me some of their traditions. And so one of them, I was there once, and then I left and I went back for this December, which I didn't know they were having this big ceremony. So I get there, and as the boat's dropping me off this time, they say, there's a storm coming, right? Like, no. So he drops me off again on this island, and these are all sea level, right? There's no hills, there's nothing, no high ground. And within a day, you'd wake up, you'd be lying in the hammock, and your hand would be dangling in the water in some areas of the island. It was already like a foot of water in some of the places. And again, this is a very small island. So this storm is coming. Just about everybody is in this large structure built for the ceremony drinking chicha. not about everybody actually. Of course, the children, there are women minding the children and such, but there's a large group in there. There's also a young woman who has just started her moontime and is in a separate hut having her moontime ceremony around at the same time. I don't know if that just happens or just happens, right? And so they're all ripped on chicha. So chicha is fermented, so it's considered alcoholic, but it's not in the same way that we think of alcohol as especially being a stigma or even addictive. I mean, that's a whole other thing where addiction comes from. This is a ceremonial drink that you get ripped on. And the term ripped as well is kind of appropriate because there's this, it causes kind of a forgetting of all distortions and distractions and misunderstandings and separation between body, mind, soul, interferences of spirit. That is what the Mother's Day ceremony is. It is a return to the mother. So you may be familiar with the tradition, the art form of the kuna is called a mola. Actually, I got one here. I should have brought it. I was going to, but I didn't. So the molas are made by the women because it is also a matriarchal society, the kuna. And so there's an example of a mola. And they often have different animals and plants on them and things. So it's a matriarchal society, and of course the mother is the ocean. The mother gives them everything. Very, very deeply connected with the ocean. So here we are, and the ocean is swelling. And these people have lived on these islands for like countless, thousands, tens of thousands of years, the Kuna people. They've seen tornadoes and storms before, and they have survived them because they have such a deep connection with the water. And on this day, somebody yells out something, and the chief comes running out of the structure in which the ceremony is occurring, and he's also inebriated. And the call is that there's a tornado coming directly for the island. And when we went and some people of us gathered and watched, and you could see this tornado just out on the horizon. And so the chief, he goes out and he takes a conch shell just like this one. And you can see, the conch shell is a spiral. It is the tornado in itself, has the same energy as the tornado. And he goes out and I don't do it well, so I'm not going to deafen you with it here. And he starts blowing this conch shell and speaking to the tornado through this beautiful conch shell, which also is, such a feminine, the spiral energy, yes? Now, the chief was male, but the chief has a different status and role in a matriarchal society than we may consider. And he's speaking to the tornado, and there's a bit of like, is he connecting with it? And everybody's sort of watching, but nobody seems worried. Like I said, this is not new to them. And eventually, so the tornado just starts, away it goes back out to sea. Because this long string covers, hundreds of miles, these islands, and it's not like you just want it to not come to your island. He was protecting the entire nation. Because this is where the tornado happened to be coming towards us. And probably down the line, maybe they would happen again, because the entire nation is having a ceremony in this way. Did the ceremony call the tornado so that the people would be able to maintain that connection? I don't know, right? Just something to consider. Maybe it was all part of the ceremony, this huge storm. This shut down the Panama Canal. Panama was in a state of emergency. And that's what happened on Mother's Day in the Kuna territory. I think it was 2011, December. just before 2012. So, telling you this story because I just woke up in the remembering of it this morning. And for my part, on Mother's Day, a few of us at a distance are gathering at the ocean to do what I call a naming ceremony, which I did for myself. I think also in 2012, maybe? No, it was a bit earlier than that, actually. No, it was earlier. It was quite a bit earlier. It was more like 2001. And it is a ceremony of letting go. We're going to be using or calling and inviting elderflowers. I'm going to go harvest them and collect them shortly this morning so they're nice and fresh. Asking for permission, of course, first to gather them. And then we're going to meet at low tide at 2 p.m. and make a circle of these elderflowers in which the participants will step and speak of what is dying in them. And we let that go. An elderflower is representative of the archetype of death. We call it archetype is in the tarot of letting go. And then made a tea, sun tea of the flowers, and then that will be little bit will be drank, so that helps the entire organism make the necessary adjustments for the transition of the old to the new. I'm trying to get a loud. There she is. So beautiful, regal. Here, keep things backwards so I get confused. That's the way it is in the spirit world sometimes. Things are, what's small is big and what's big is small. And so today it seems it's early in the morning, but I've been hearing of these, protests against the lockdown. And there's also, they're letting up on the restrictions and people are gathering in larger groups. And anyway, it seems like chaos, which the tornado story is kind of about. Is with us, and also chaos is a very powerful cleanser, gets things unstuck, dislodges them. So if chaos is with you today, invite her in, maybe speak to her, through the spiral, any kind of spiral form that you have. There's moon snail shells, got some of those around. You could just draw a spiral on a piece of paper and speak with chaos. Say, Mother Chaos, this is your day. And I would like to learn how to work with you. Or something like that. So wishing you all well on this beautiful, beautiful day. And maybe, I don't know. The way I usually sign off now is, may we continue to enjoy the good company of one another's path. Mitakuyasan. Kukshkan. Echkan. Siem. Au revoir. Adieu. Guten Morgen. Over and out. One more shot of loud.